Good evening. Our changing demographics with our students are occurring in our schools. By 2026, it is estimated that 46% of our population will be white, and the other 56% will be students of color. And if we take it another step further to look at what's occurring presently here in the state of Texas, for 2016-17, we see 35% of our population is white, and 65% of those students are going to be students of color. If we add another dimension to this, and that is 71% of our teachers are white and middle-aged. And oftentimes what we see sometimes, due to language differences and cultural differences, there is this sort of dissonance between teachers and students of color. And we can see this in the research, and where it shows up is when we see that there's a number of children, particularly students of color, who are placed in special ed programs, who are often expelled and often put in SOS or IOS, so they don't have access to the classroom. And the final thing about this also is they don't have access to higher science and math courses, and also not necessarily gifted programs. So this is kind of what an overview gauge of what our students are. So my colleagues and I, some of who are in this room tonight, put together what we thought was a school inclusion model that we could share with school districts, in particular, to sort of address changing demographics. Because what we see right now, schools are struggling with, I don't know how to do this. What do I do? How do I change instructional practice, and so on and so on. So we looked at the organizational change literature. We then also went ahead to look at the organizational diversity. And we tried to see how this model could work in schools. So we first know that the leadership is key. We know that in particular, this leader in a school that's changing demographics must be culturally competent. They must be able to have a degree of self-efficacy, meaning they can address things that aren't fair and equitable for students of color. The other piece is that they can make changes to schools and adapt. So for example, as simple as putting forms and translating them for the parents of color. Simple things, again, like having somebody there on campus who can work and teach Spanish to the teachers. So these are the kinds of things we look at the leader. The other aspect for the leader that I think is important is that they themselves can build relationships across and between groups. As being culturally competent as a leader, you have to get your parents, your teachers, and your students, and building relationships among them. Well, if these cultural differences are there, this is problematic, because how do I interact with students? How do I change my practices? How do I build these relationships? How do I engage families? So we start out with the leader. We think that's critical. The other piece of this is going to be organizational justice in the broader sense, issues of fairness and equity. So when we look at our schools, and we look at how teachers and administrators interpret and enact certain school policies, we see this as a problem. We can look at discipline rates, we can look at suspension rates. Are we being fair in how we distribute and hand out discipline, special ed placements, and so on and so forth? The theory that we're operating on, and we're now starting this study, is that if you have leaders who are competent and you're fair and equitable in how you work with those students, it will have an inclusive environment and ultimately increase your school outcomes. So again, this is very theoretical. We were approached by the Kellogg Foundation to say, let's explore this model, let's see what we can do. So we have started, this is the first year of the project, it's 3 years. We're working with a district presently very demographically diverse. This particular district, we're working with 1 high school, 2 junior highs, and 5 elementary. And just in the first year alone, we've spent a lot of time getting administrators and their teachers to look at there is a relationship between those discipline numbers and your students dropping out. There is a relationship when you have teachers being absent and not necessarily there for the kids for the testing. We've also spent a lot of time with parent engagement. Not that these parents won't come, it's just that maybe we need to rethink how we bring them into the school. So it's not one directional. we offer these things, I don't understand why they don't come, to, oh, maybe we need to think about changing our times. Maybe we need to think about moving it out into the cultural center where those are. So as I said, we're working on a model. It's exploratory. We're hoping that once this model hopefully will improve outcomes, that we can use it at a national level for schools that are changing. Thank you.